Right now, inside thousands of quiet American homes, there are houseplants that haven't been watered in weeks. Some sit in dim corners where sunlight barely reaches. Some have been forgotten during long work weeks, busy travel schedules, or simply the exhaustion of everyday life. And somehow, they're still alive. Still green, still thriving. The surprising truth isn't that these plants are tough. It's that most people are buying the wrong plants from the very beginning. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which plants almost refuse to die. You'll discover the ones that tolerate low light, forgive missed watering, and quietly survive dry indoor air from heating and air conditioning. These are the plants that thrive even when life gets in the way, and they might be the reason you finally stop replacing dead greenery every few months. Here's why this matters right now. More people than ever are decorating small apartments and busy homes with houseplants, but most of us are working long hours, traveling more, and living in spaces with limited natural light. Plant prices have climbed, and nobody wants to keep spending money on something that dies within a month. What people actually need isn't more effort. They need better choices. Before we get into today's plants, I'd love to know where you're watching from, and be honest, how many houseplants have you accidentally killed? Drop the number in the comments, because trust me, you are not alone. So let's slow down for a moment. Growing indoor plants was never supposed to feel like a chore or a source of guilt. There's a quiet kind of peace that comes from tending something living, even if that tending is minimal. Today we're finding your garden solace, one forgiving, nearly indestructible plant at a time. Number 1. We're starting with a plant that has quietly become the unofficial mascot of people who claim they can't keep anything alive. The snake plant, sometimes called mother-in-law's tongue, is often the very first plant that convinces someone they finally have a green thumb, when really, the plant is just doing all the work. Here's why it's nearly impossible to kill. The snake plant stores water inside its thick, upright leaves, which means it can go 3 to 6 weeks without watering and barely notice. It actually prefers to be neglected. Overwatering is the only real threat to this plant, which is ironic, because overwatering is usually the mistake beginners make with everything else. Light requirements are refreshingly relaxed. It tolerates low light beautifully, which makes it perfect for apartments with small windows, dim hallways, or offices lit mostly by fluorescent bulbs. It can also handle bright indirect light if you have it, but it won't sulk without it. Watering frequency is roughly once every 3 to 4 weeks, and even then, only when the soil is completely dry. Humidity tolerance is excellent. Dry winter air from your heater won't bother this plant at all, which already sets it apart from most tropical houseplants that struggle the moment the furnace kicks on. Its growth habit is upright and architectural, with tall, sword-shaped leaves that add a clean, modern silhouette to any room. It looks stunning in a bedroom corner, beside a minimalist sofa, or tucked into a bathroom that gets almost no natural light, since it's one of the few plants that genuinely tolerates that kind of negligee habit. Beginners love it because it looks intentional and expensive, even though it asks for almost nothing. The most common mistake is watering on a schedule instead of checking the soil first. The fix is simple. Stick your finger 2 inches into the soil, and if it's even slightly damp, walk away and check again next week. But this next plant survives conditions that would kill almost anything else, and it's been quietly loved by plant parents who forget entire watering seasons. Number 2. The ZZ plant, short for Zamioculcas zamiifolia, might be the single most forgiving houseplant sold in the United States today. It's the plant equivalent of a friend who never gets offended when you cancel plans. It simply doesn't need you as much as you think it does. The reason it's so hard to kill comes down to its rhizomes, thick underground structures that store water and nutrients for months at a time. This means the plant can survive extended drought, missed watering, and even complete neglect during a long vacation without dropping a single leaf. Light requirements range from low light to bright indirect light, making it one of the most flexible plants for apartments, offices, or homes with north-facing windows. It genuinely performs well in rooms that get almost no direct sun. You'll only need to water it every 2 to 3 weeks, and letting the soil dry out completely between waterings is actually encouraged. Humidity tolerance is excellent, and it shrugs off the dry air created by central heating during winter months. Its growth habit is glossy, upright, and almost artificial looking, with deep green leaves that catch the light beautifully. It looks incredible on a floating shelf, beside a home office desk, or grouped in a decorative pot near a reading chair, adding lush texture without demanding attention. Beginners love the ZZ plant because it looks expensive and tropical while requiring the effort of a cactus. The most common mistake is panicking over slow growth and overwatering to compensate. The fix is patience. Slow growth is normal, and the plant is thriving even when it doesn't look like it's doing much. Most beginners completely overlook this next plant because it doesn't look tough. But looks can be deceiving. Number 3. Pothos might be the friendliest, most forgiving trailing plant you'll ever bring into your home, and it's a favorite among people who travel frequently or simply forget their plants exist for weeks at a time. The reason Pothos survives almost any level of neglect is its incredible resilience to inconsistent watering and its ability to bounce back from being nearly bone dry. The leaves will droop dramatically when thirsty, giving you a clear visual signal, and then perk right back up within hours of watering. Light requirements are wonderfully adaptable. Pothos tolerates low light, though it grows faster and more vibrant in bright indirect light. It's genuinely one of the few plants that can thrive in a dim hallway and still look full and healthy. Watering frequency is roughly once every 1 to 2 weeks, but honestly, this plant tells you when it's thirsty through its leaves, removing the guesswork entirely. Humidity tolerance is solid, adjusting well to typical indoor conditions, including dry winter air. Its growth habit is trailing and vine-like, making it perfect for hanging baskets, tall bookshelves, or draping elegantly from a kitchen window. Picture long, heart-shaped leaves cascading down a floating shelf in a cozy reading nook, and you'll understand why interior designers reach for Pothos again and again. Beginners love it because it's nearly impossible to mess up and grows quickly enough to feel rewarding. The most common mistake is placing it in a container without drainage, which traps water around the roots. The fix is simple. Always use a pot with a drainage hole, or place a plastic nursery pot with drainage inside a decorative one. Which one would you buy first? Drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know which of these plants speaks to your home. Now here's the one professional interior designers secretly rely on, especially in commercial spaces where nobody has time for daily plant care. Number 4. The cast iron plant earns its name honestly. This is a plant that was popular in Victorian homes long before central heating existed, back when rooms were cold, dim, and inconsistently cared for, and it still thrived. Its resilience comes from incredibly tough, leathery leaves that resist damage from low light, temperature swings, and inconsistent watering. It grows slowly, which means it doesn't demand frequent feeding or repotting, and it simply endures. Light requirements are minimal. This plant genuinely thrives in low light and can survive in a windowless room using nothing but a lamp for illumination. If your apartment has one dim corner nothing else survives in, this is your answer. Watering frequency is about once every 2 weeks, and it tolerates both underwatering and occasional overwatering better than most plants. Humidity tolerance is excellent, unaffected by dry heating systems or air conditioning. Its growth habit is upright with broad, dark green leaves that create a lush, jungle-like presence without needing much space. It looks beautiful in a hallway, a shaded home office corner, or beside a staircase where natural light rarely reaches. Beginners love it because it forgives nearly every mistake, and its slow growth means it stays looking tidy without constant maintenance. The most common mistake is assuming it needs regular fertilizing. The fix is restraint. Feed it once during the growing season, and otherwise, simply leave it alone. Have you ever given up on houseplants completely, convinced you just weren't a plant person? I'd bet money that one of the plants on this list would have changed your mind, and we're about to reach the ones that are almost impossible to kill, even on purpose. Number 5. We're closing with 2 plants because these final choices are simply too good not to include together, and both represent the absolute peak of low-effort, high-reward indoor gardening. First, the spider plant. This is one of the most adaptable houseplants in existence, thriving in nearly any indoor condition, while producing charming little plantlets that dangle like fireworks from the mother plant. It tolerates a wide range of light, from low to bright indirect, and forgives inconsistent watering without dropping leaves dramatically. Watering it every 1 to 2 weeks is plenty, and it actually prefers to dry out slightly between waterings. Humidity tolerance is strong, adapting well to typical home environments, including apartments with forced air heating. Its trailing growth habit makes it stunning in a hanging basket near a kitchen window or on a high shelf where its cascading leaves can be fully appreciated. Beginners love spider plants because they multiply, giving you free plants to share with friends or fill other rooms in your home. The most common mistake is worrying over brown leaf tips, which are usually caused by tap water minerals rather than neglect. The fix is easy. Simply trim the tips and continue as normal, since it's a cosmetic issue, not a health one. Second, succulents, specifically hardy varieties like jade plants and haworthia. These plants store water in their thick leaves, allowing them to survive weeks without attention. They thrive in bright indirect light, ideally near a sunny window, and need watering only once every 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes less during winter months. Their growth habit is compact and sculptural, making them perfect for a sunny kitchen windowsill, a desk in a home office, or a cluster of small pots on a coffee table. Beginners love how low maintenance and visually satisfying they are. The most common mistake is overwatering out of love. The fix is simple. When in doubt, don't water. These plants would rather be forgotten than fussed over. So here's what all 5 of these plants have in common. None of them require perfect timing, constant attention, or years of gardening experience. They were simply built to survive real life, the kind with long work days, forgotten watering schedules, and homes that don't get much natural sunlight. If you've killed houseplants before, that doesn't mean you lack a green thumb. It usually means the plant was wrong for your lifestyle from the very beginning. Successful indoor gardening isn't about mastering complicated care routines, it's about matching the right plant to the life you actually live. Which one surprised you the most today? Was it the snake plant that thrives on neglect, the ZZ plant that survives entire seasons without water, or maybe the cast iron plant that's been proving itself since Victorian times? Let me know in the comments, and if you already own one of these, tell us how long it survived under your care. You might be surprised how resilient it really is. If you found this helpful, you'll love my next video, where I reveal the fastest growing indoor plants that make any room look expensive with almost no effort at all. Until then, take care of yourself the way these plants take care of themselves, quietly, patiently, and without needing anyone to fuss over them. If this video helped you feel more confident about growing something green in your own home, give it a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.